All right, let's go over it and see how you did. This is your last chance. This is your last chance to get on board of the insurance train. Okay, so here we go. Renting. So that's tenant. Make sure you pay attention. That's tenant insurance. Quiet, please. We need $50,000 worth of insurance. That's not going over. So we're here and we want a comprehensive policy. So it's going to be a bit more. So that's $324. So my insurance cost in this case, that's it. Because we're not going over. So you don't need to worry about adding anything. It's a $500 deductible. So you don't need to multiply by 1.10. This is it. For B. Okay, renting, you're going over. I will figure out I'll figure out my overage right away. Okay? And that turns out to be $12,000 extra you need. So you figure out your insurance. You go get your rate. It's standard. 87,000. So you max out under standard. So you grab the 359. You also grab the 450. Okay? So this is 359. It's on the video though. You're just not seeing it. I froze the screen. Sorry. So you find the overage right off the bat. That's 12,000. You go grab the 359 because that's when you max out. You go grab the 450 as well. So it's 359. Then it's 12,000 times 450 over 1,000. Do you multiply by 1.10? No, because it's a $500 deductible. Okay. So we have 359 plus, that would be 12,000. That's $54. Please no talking right now. So we go plus 359. That's 413. Okay, that is it. No need to multiply that by 1.10. C. What do we have there? Renting, 70,000. You're not going over. Okay, so we're just gonna go grab that. Is it comprehensive? It's standard. So 70,000. That's 337. We're not going over, so that's basically everything that remains in the square bracket. It is a $200 deductible, so all we had to do is 337 times 1.10 or 1.1. That's 370.7, half a mark deduction for that, right? So you got to make sure you put the 0 in there. So that's what you get there. For D, it's owning. So now we need a different table. We need to use this table right here. We are in Winnipeg. We're not going over, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to grab one number. Winnipeg standard 175. That's 607. Okay, so just grab a 607. Do I need to multiply it? Nope. So that's it. That's my answer. 607. E, last but not least, is you're going over. It's area 4, $200 deductible. So I'll do that real quick. Insurance. Area 4, comprehensive. So it's 1063. Thank you. Plus, how much am I over? This is easy to do mental math, right? It's 50,000 over. So it's 50,000. You multiply it by that rate that's right below it for going over. Yeah. Boom, like that. You do multiply all of that by 1.10, but please make sure you do that at the very end. Don't do it right away. This is what you need to compute first. Okay, you have to do that first or else you will get this wrong. So it's 259.50, and then you copy down the front number, show your work step by step. So now I'm going to add these two together. That gives me $1322.50. That's a $500 policy. As soon as I do this, I get a $200 deductible policy. That is what you should be getting if you did that right. Okay, so I'm gonna throw ACs at you with insurance and so forth, so be ready for that. Okay, good job, guys. Most of you were right in there participating. So let's go over to our booklets now. We're gonna talk about land transfer tax. How about I'll do this first. I'll do my lesson and then you can go. I don't want to wait. Page 61. Make sure you write this down because this is I'm not gonna lie to you, this is a little tricky. Okay. 61. 61. Let's make sure we put our phones away. Take away any distractions. Pay attention. And then, what's that? We can't do that, unfortunately. Fortunately, we can't do that. Who would not want to have Roel in his class, right? All right. Okay. No, I'm serious. I will miss you all, guys. That's the bad thing about grade 12. You always leave. You never stay. All right. And then I have to learn new names all over again. I don't have you like in 10, 11, 12. Anyways. Land transfer tax. I don't know if you've, now it's serious time, okay? I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm putting down right next to these items that we're calculating if it's a one-time or if it's an ongoing thing. Land transfer time is a one-time cost. Insurance, what do you think? Insurance is ongoing. You should always have insurance for your home. I am serious about this. When you own a home, something can happen while you're away, while you're at home, it doesn't matter, and your whole place is up in flames and now you have nothing. Okay? So be careful. Here it is. Highlight this part. Land transfer tax is paid when the owner of the property changes. The Manitoba government collects this as revenue, and the lawyer hired to do the transaction will ensure that the money gets transferred properly. This is a one-time large cost required before possession of the newly home is granted. Okay. The first 200,000 of the value of the house is taxed according to scale. Any amount over 200,000 is taxed 2% flat. Okay. So make sure you follow along with this. This is the table that most likely you will be given when you're doing land transfer tax. This table right here, except for this part. I'm adding the decimal column to it. It is very important that you understand that these are percentages. A lot of students miss that because they're like, hey, it's a small number. It must be percentage. It must be a decimal already. No, it is not. So on the first $30,000 of your property, you pay no taxes, no land transfer tax. So obviously that's just zero. On the next 60,000, so first 30, nothing. On the next 60,000, you pay 0.5%. What is that as a decimal? Take your calculator. If you're unsure, you go 0.5 and you're going to divide it by 100. That's 0.005. It's very important that you get that part. So write this down, 0.005. All I do is I take my rate and I divide it by 100. So this is going to be up to you to do that. Right? They're not going to give you the decimal. They're going to give you the rates. And then 1%, what's 1 divided by 100? That's 0.01. Okay? 0.01. And I'm telling you, you missing a zero is going to make the answer be completely different. So you want to pay attention to these little details. 1.5% divided by 100 is 0.015. And then anything above 200,000, you pay 2%, which is 0.02. Okay, I'm going to make a note here. Note, land transfer tax is based on the actual value of the home, actual purchase price. Of the home, of the property. So the higher the selling price of the house, the more money the government collects. Like they actually love the prices going up because you will see the amounts we calculate are the actual amounts you're gonna have to pay. I'm not making this up, right? These are the exact amounts that are gonna take place that you're gonna have to pay if you buy a condo or a house. Even if it's just a piece of land, you're gonna have to pay land transfer tax. So here it is. I'm going to use different highlighters. I use 4 different ones. You got that down? I like highlighters for this part because on the first $30,000 of your property, like the first 30K here, you pay 0%. Okay, I will actually use the 0 here. On the next 60,000, so on the next 60,000 of your property, that's from here to there, you pay 0.5%. You pay this much. And then I'm switching over to pink. On the next $60,000 of your property, you pay 1%. So this, I want you to see this chart live right here on this line. And then on the next 50,000, you pay this much. That corresponds to this chunk right here. And any amounts over, right? So you can kind of say that this part right here is 200,000 plus. Okay, you pay a flat 2% on anything that's above it. And you might ask yourself, like, why is it that complicated? Like, why isn't it just a flat rate? I honestly don't know. I think this is very dated. Because look at most houses are over 200,000, right? Most houses. So this is like going way back when you could probably get a house for 110,000. When I was buying my houses, you could get a very nice house for $110,000. Like you'd be like, but you were thinking, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. I don't know if I can afford this, right? And now they're like 350, 400, right? So I wish I would have purchased a more expensive house back then. But here's the calculation part of this, okay? So if you follow my format, you will get it right every single time. So here we go. You ready? I'm going to keep that bar on top there. It says calculate the land transfer tax when you purchase a house worth $385,000. So this is how you do it. You go 385 and you're going to subtract these amounts, 30,000, 60,000, 60,000, 50,000. That's the progression that I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go minus 30,000. Is there something left over? Absolutely. Grab your calculator. You could do mental math here, but later on it might get tricky. Right? So you take 30,000 away, you're down to 355. What's the next amount that we can subtract? 60,000. So we're going to take away 60,000. So minus 60,000. I will highlight this part later on again. So you're left with 295. The next amount is another 60,000. We can still subtract, so let's keep going. So I will take away 60,000. You're left with 235,000. What's the next amount? The next amount you can take away is 50,000. See up here? So as long as you can subtract, you keep doing that. You're left with 185,000. There's nothing left to subtract, correct? There's no other amount left to subtract. So this amount will be taxed 2%. This is the amount over 200,000. So you go times 0.02%. We're going to figure that out. You won't do this every time, but this is the 30,000 from the first 30,000. This is the next 60,000. And this is the another 60,000. And this 50,000 right here, the last one is what I did here. This is just one way of doing it. I will change it a little bit down the road. Okay. Do you pay any taxes on the first 30,000? The answer is no. So you just go $0. How much do you pay on the next 60,000? Go up here. I'm going to use this part. What's 0.5%? That's really 0.005, correct? So I will multiply this by 0.005. Let's keep going. We'll do the math later. The next 60,000, what do you pay? 1%. 1% is 0.01. So you multiply that by 0.01. And the next one is 0.015. So you multiply that by 0.015. And now you grab your calculators and start computing. You go 60,000 times 0.005. That's $300 that you're going to pay on that. So you write this down. Then it's 60,000 times 0.01. That is $600. Some of you are going to memorize these numbers. You're just going to know. You're not even going to bother typing it in. But if you need to, type it in, right? Next, 50,000 times 0.015. That's $750. So it's adding up. Like so far, we're paying these amounts. This is the biggest one of them all. 185,000 times 0.02. 3,700. 3,700. You're not wrong. That is what it is. Okay? So now, land transfer tax is 0 plus 300 plus 600 plus 750. So I'm adding up all these numbers plus 3,700. And here it is. So I'm going to just add it up. 5,350 you're going to have to pay. Nobody told me that when I bought my first house, and I was quite frankly shocked. Like I didn't have 5,000 just sitting around one time. So every time you sell, like whoever buys the house pays this, not the person selling. So if your house gets sold every year, the government would love that because every time they have to change the title of that property, they cash in on it. So the more people buy and sell, the more money, the more revenue they generate with doing zero work. They don't do any of the work. It's all people are buying and selling. They just like thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Which is to me quite outrageous, right? It's quite a bit of money that you're gonna have to pay. This is the exact amount. This is not even. It's not like it's close enough. This is the actual amount you're gonna have to pay. Okay? All right. Let's do another one. Come with me. Because what if your house, and it still happens, guys. There are houses less than 200,000 in this province. You just got to go out of town or certain areas of town. You can still get houses that are less than that. So we're going to contemplate that. Let's go to page 62. Yep. Go ahead. Page 62. I want to do one more, and then I'll leave you to try one, and we'll come back tomorrow to review this. Calculate the land transfer tax for purchasing a house worth $135. Okay. Can I just say something here? I'm going to use the same colors as before and the same sequence, the highlighters, right? But this is how you do it. 135. You take the price of the house. This bar you're not going to have on the test. You will have this, okay? Pay close attention. You will have this. I will give you that. But it still has those numbers there, okay? So you don't need to panic. So we're going to take away 30,000. 135 minus 30,000, that leaves you with 105,000. Can you keep subtracting the 60 grand next? Yes, you can. Subtract it. That's 45,000 left. Uh-oh. Can I subtract 60,000 because I did 30, 60, and I'm supposed to subtract another 60, correct? Can I do that? No. So you're stopping there, but you take that percentage. So what's 1% as a decimal? 0.01. So you stop, right? You stop here. You can't subtract, right? Can't subtract 60,000 from it, right? So you can't subtract anymore. You just give it that whatever bracket you are in, which is 1%, that's what you multiply it by. So we have that the first 30 is $0. The next 60,000 is 0.005. Right? So you're going to figure out 60,000 times 0.005 is $300. I'm just copying it from the previous page. 45,000 times 1%. Anybody, you can probably guess. But if you don't, right, if you're not comfortable, you just write down 450. That's it. So how much do this land transfer tax for this 750? That's it. Boom. It's a lot less. If your house stays under 200,000, it's a lot less. So here's the highlighting part. If you like highlighting, I'm just going to do that here. Right, and then I went to next 60,000. That was that. And then the pink, I have to be careful. The pink is almost like you only went to this point right there. It's almost like you didn't use up the 60,000. That's why, but it's still the 1% that went with it here. Okay, so whatever bracket you end up, that's what you multiply that by, whatever money amounts remain. 750. Okay. I'm gonna let go of your hands here. You're gonna ride. We're gonna take the training wheels off. Okay. I want you to try 3 and 4 before you go home today. Okay. Before you go home, you try 3 and 4. And if you get it wrong, big deal right now. Okay. You just gotta try it. That's the only way to learn. This is what example 3 should be. If you want more, page 63 to 64 has more questions for you to try. There's also a lottery, the $1 million home of a lottery winner. If you want to try that one, I bet you the government loves that one, because even if you win, you have to pay the land transfer tax if you win that house. So you calculate how much you're looking at, right? You know what the safest bet is to always think of it as 2%. Like whatever you're buying, multiply by 2%, and you for sure have enough money for the land transfer tax. So couple of tips, right? It's 30, 60, 60, 50, right? The amounts that I subtract, but I will always give you the table so you don't have to memorize those. Then it's, right, 0%, 0.5%, so 1%, 1.5%, 2%. Once you find those amounts, keep subtracting until you can no longer subtract, okay? Here we ran out of numbers to subtract, so it's just like whatever is left gets 2% flat, right? So keep that in mind.